welcome to Makemas. I am your host Joe and I'm here with
Kira.
And today we're going to make some Christmas decorations for the holiday season.
That's right, you'll be able to decorate them however you want and even personalise them at the end.
And this is what we'll be making today. This is a salt dough hand of Santa Claus, Saint Nick himself. But before we begin, we need to mention that since this will require the use of an oven, you really should have a responsible adult with you at all times while doing this.
Right, so for this activity, you are going to need 500 grams of flour, 250 grams of salt, 200 millilitres of sunflower oil, 100 millilitres of water, scales, a bowl, jugs of course, rolling pin, a black marker pen, paintbrushes, paint, white, red and pink, a baking tray, greaseproof paper and of course your hands. Now the 500 grams of flour does make 2 hands, but if you want to do more with friends you can add a kilogram and just double the rest of your ingredients.
Well, I think that's enough chit chat, so let's get on with this.
I think so too.
So the first thing you need to do is measure out the 500 grams of flour. Now of course what you usually do is take the empty jug and put that on there and pour in the flour. We've already done this for our own convenience. So take the flour and pour it into the bowl. You don't need to really be careful. I like to spread the flour out a bit just so it gets more surface area. So I just put that down there. And that's what it will look like with just the flour in. Next, you need to do the same for the salt. Measure out 250 grams of salt, and I don't know why we have this in a bag, we ran out of jugs. And pour in the salt, which is a lot easier to pour in than the flour.
Yep. Okay, next what you want to do is grab your 200 millilitres of sunflower oil and just pour that into the mixture, like so. Now this next bit can get a bit messy, so if you want to grab a bowl of water to wash your hands in afterwards,
We have
then
right here.
that is totally fine. Then you're going to grab your 100 millilitres of water as well, Joe, and then I'll grab that for
Have
you.
the water, please.
And you're going to want to pour that in slowly in little bits. And you can mix this in with your hands, it doesn't really matter. And you want to keep going until the mixture looks like breadcrumbs. And if you pour too much water in, it doesn't matter, you can just add a bit more flour, which should sort it out.
Should look something like this while you're making it.
Yes, exactly.
Now you will eventually know when to take it out of the bowl. It will fit together a lot better, but if I can just get a lot of this off. Kira, could you please take the jugs?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to put the bowl down and wash my hands.
So once you've done that, your mixture should look something like this when it's put into a bowl. And then once Joe has finished washing his hands, he will knead it on the table.
Yes, take this out the bowl and a bit unstable. But you can flatten this out on the table.
What you want to do next is grab your baking tray and greaseproof paper and put the dough on the tray and roll it out with a rolling pin so it looks something like this. So you don't need to use a rolling pin, you can just use your hands, it doesn't really matter. But just remember, if you do happen to have bigger hands, then your dough should be a lot thicker.
So after you've rolled it out, and put that down here, you need to take your hand and put it in the center of the dough. And make sure it is the center. And then press down as hard as you can on the dough and keep it on a flat surface so you can do it. And you should do it until you see your hand print in the dough. The indent, I think is what it's called. And it should look something like that at the end.
So once you finish that, you can then move on to my favourite part, which is the cooking and the decorating. Now, this next part you do need adult supervision because you are going to be using a hot oven. So what you want to do is turn it to around 180 degrees or gas mark 2 and you're going to put it in the oven for 3 hours. You can also set a timer, it doesn't really matter. If you forget, that's fine.
And when you take it out of the oven, it should look something like this.
Yes.
And now the next part is, and I just need to have more space here, sorry about that. Next part is beginning the painting of the hand.
Yes.
The first thing you want to do is take a black marker, which we have already done this, but take a black marker and draw around the hand. This is so you don't go outside the lines as you would in a colouring book.
Yes.
And after you've done that, you draw a bit of a cloud shape in the centre of the hand, which will be aroundish here. Sorry about my dirty hands, by the way.
It's fine, it's bound to happen anyway, it doesn't matter.
And the semicircle here, draw that after. That will come in handy later.
So now what you can do is start painting, and you're going to grab a paintbrush and the white paint, and you're going to want to fill in the fingers and the tip of the thumb, like this. I just quickly do that. You don't want to fill in the rest of the thumb because that is going to be for the hat and will be painted red. So you just keep doing that until it's all painted white. So, there we go, tip of the thumb, and then fill in the rest of that semicircle around where the face would be, and also the cloud that Joe just drew for the fluffy bit on Santa's hat.
Kira, why just the tip of the thumb?
Because that is going to be the fluffy bit on the end of the hat, and the rest is going to be red, which Joe will show you how to do.
Yes, I will right now. I'll just grab a paintbrush and take the red paint and begin. You need to wait for this to dry, obviously, but we like to be a bit dangerous. And paint in the rest of the hat. This doesn't really matter painting skills, you're not painting the Mona Lisa here. But if you are a skilled painter, I'm sure you could do a lot more with this, like add bells to the hats, or possibly even more detail onto his face or his beard. But after you've done the hat, it should look something like this. Here, let this roll away. And then the next part is to paint his skin, which will be with pink. Here. And you'll see his face is quite small, and there is a reason for that. It's because he has a big beard, of course, so
That's
the beard
right.
is taking up most of his face.
Okay, so once that's dry, it should only take around like 5 minutes or so. You want to grab the red again and do a dot right in the middle for his nose. Doesn't have to be too neat, should look just like that.
Again, you should wait for it to dry, but we don't want to.
We don't want to, we don't follow the rules.
And the last thing you need to do is, sorry, my hands are.
It's all right. You want to grab your black marker pen and you want to draw in the rest of his features, mainly his eyes, because you're not going to see his
This probably would be better
mouth.
with black paints than a black marker.
But it doesn't really matter. There you go, like that.
And for the rest, you can paint around the side to give a background and make him pop out a bit more. We're not going to do that though, because we have what the finished product should look like right here. As you can see, this has been given a lot more care.
Yes.
And has been given a background. Probably took more than the time we had here. But of course, you don't have to do Santa and you don't have to do Christmas.
You can do whatever you want, any seasons, anything at all. So we've got a few here that we made earlier.
These are still related to Christmas.
So you have a reindeer hand.
Guess who this one is?
You also have a Christmas tree hand.
And of course, you don't need to do hands as well. You can really do any body parts you want or anything. So for example, we used someone's foot to make this snowman.
Yes. Also, like we were saying with the seasons, you can do anything like Halloween or Easter. So these two.
These are Halloween ones. This is a foot ghost and a pumpkin.
And also, you don't just have to do hands or feet. You can make little models if you want. Like we have little figurines, so a Santa, a gingerbread man, a snowman, whatever you want to do.
Of course, you would need to clean up the rest of the mess, which we're going to do a bit later, because that's about it for all we have to cover. So
Yeah.
I've been your host, Joe, and she's been
Kira. mirror.
And we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.